Yeah, that's our official intro is, okay, we're recording. Okay, so I do have some follow-up stuff. So last time we talked about our YouTube subscription feed process or whatever. So have you heard about the news around the subscription feed?
Yes. So okay. Not to give any more hints about where this podcast originates from, but I looked at CGP Gray's Twitter very briefly.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember why, but I did this week. And the one thing when I looked, his most recent tweet or something was about this subscription junk, and that's the only reason I know about it.
Yeah.
But go ahead and sum it up.
What it is some people are seeing, and YouTube is testing, people are kind of organizing your subscription feed instead of chronological order by what it thinks that you want to watch, which is what I thought every other page was already doing, the homepage and trending page. But they're testing bringing that to the subscription feed, which makes no sense to me. But they're kind of they kind of validated by saying, oh, this is going to be completely optional. It'll be on by default, but you could turn it off if you want to, which is also ridiculous.
But there isn't a setting yet, right? They're just saying once we make it a final feature, it will be.
Yeah, they're saying if we make it a final feature, it will be an option.
Yeah, but for the time being, if you happen to be the B group in the A/B test, it's not optional.
Right? Well, maybe it even is for them, but the issue with it is that whenever these companies test this thing, so what they're going to do is they'll say they end up doing it. They've done the tests and they see, yes, this generates more revenue for YouTube, so we're going to reorganize the subscription feed, which if you listen to the last episode completely throws off my whole system. But so they'll turn it on by default, and then as we all know, nobody changes the default settings except for the 1 or 2% of people like you and I. So then they're going to say, okay, well, it's an option, and 99% of people choose to not change the default setting, which is not because they like it like that, but because they just probably don't know that it exists. And then they'll say, oh, and it's also making us more money, so we'll just get rid of the option to even do it. So that's the line that they're treading. That's scary for me, because it's the one thing that's I hated when they did that on Instagram. If you've learned, we talked about how I use Twitter last week, and I have to use this third-party app so that they don't reorganize the feed. And YouTube doing that has no third-party apps, and it's just completely going to throw off my whole thing.
Well, I kind of wonder, this is a little bit along those lines of, who really uses or who changes the settings, but also, who goes over to that subscription tab, because you never land on it. And I certainly do. But it might be the case that not a lot of people actually look there in the first place. So it might not be as sweeping of a change if 70% of users don't even click on subscriptions.
Only for the people that use the subscriptions the way that we use. I feel the only people that use the subscriptions tab are the people that want to see things in order, which is already a low number.
Are the ones that are pissed off by it not being. My original, let me tell you, I saw Gray's retweet thingy of this, and originally, I think I just tweeted at them nope in response to whatever they said. My original tweet was just fuck you. That's what I wanted to say to them, but then I was I want to be not as mean, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it is just a test right now, and I mean, it hasn't been a huge thing, but there has been some backlash about it, so hopefully they end up just not even doing it. But
the one redeeming thing about it is, well, it's not a redeeming thing, but I could see the argument being that, and this is what they tell you, we want to machine learn, suggest videos that people really do want to watch, right? And if in a perfect world, you basically need some kind of super intelligence running YouTube in order for this to be the case. But at some point, it would be the case that they could order videos exactly in the way that I do want to watch them, right? And that's the platonic ideal goal for it.
Yeah.
And so,
But
like, if they got to that point, I actually probably wouldn't complain too much, because if they know me so well, I don't have to think about it at all. Then I'm happy with it.
yeah.
But until they get to that point, it pisses me off to have things not in just chronological order, because I can pretty efficiently go through and pick the one. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think we're pretty far off from them doing a good job at that. And also it changes. Depends on how much time I have that day, what videos I'm going to click on. Maybe it depends on, maybe I saw something in the news that I'm interested in and then a video pops up about it. Like
no,
it's not like the same every day on what videos I want to watch for my subscription feed. So
the
I don't
super
know.
intelligence might know you that well, though. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends
Well,
the kind of access it has, but like all factors are considered, like in the. I
yeah.
mean, eventually, maybe.
If they crack artificial intelligence and can guarantee that I won't miss a video that I want to watch, then I suppose I'll be okay with it. But
Yeah, but I strongly agree, and I checked, and I don't think mine are the case. Like,
yeah,
that
mine's not
they're
either.
some kind of weird order. I would be really interested. I wish someone would just report specifically on experiments that these big tech companies run.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
don't know,
interesting to see.
because I know Facebook is, they got in trouble with their, like, they put sad content or whatever, and people were like upset because suicidal people. Do you remember this?
No.
There was something. Facebook was just like A/B testing with, what if we show one group all sad news things, like they do some kind of emotion analysis and they only show sad stuff. And I don't think that it caused anyone to definitely like harm themselves or anything like that, but that was like the argument that it could have done.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's. It's a weird position these companies are in because to them they're just like testing something, but there are real life effects to that, and in that case, it could have possibly been some sort of. But it's just like it was just some analyst like, I wonder if I do this, and then, but. And they're all running like hundreds of A/B tests at any one time. It would be interesting to kind of just see an organized list of all of those.
Yeah, and it's not like the information isn't there. It's hard to get because you have to like approach users and all that. But like they can't exactly hide it if you just look at what a lot of people's stuff looks like. I know I think somewhere they were talking about how even like YouTube's settings look different in different, like, for different people.
Oh, really?
So that like you can't even walk someone through how to do something because it just looks different for them.
Yeah, and it
this
changes for every
Yeah, and it's getting towards an idea of like, right now we're very accustomed to this idea that interfaces are identical for pretty much everyone, and we're moving towards what might be like customization to different users to the point that everything looks different for everyone, and that's a really interesting concept. Is like people's. I mean, Netflix is a good example, right? Where shows, I mean, interface is kind of the same, but the shows, they do all that stuff with like, they'll put different faces or different screenshots and different text formatting. I don't know if you've seen, but they've done a lot of AI stuff with trying to like make the show most appealing.
Yeah.
So it's really like very customized experiences, not just content.
Yeah. And that seems to be the goal for all of them. So, like at Amazon, a big pillar is personalization and just like making the experience exactly what each individual person wants it to be, which makes sense as the next step. But yeah, it's interesting. I guess speaking of that, do we want to get into a little bit of the Seattle stuff?
Yeah.
So
speaking of Amazon,
yeah.
Have you been to the I mean, presumably you've been to the main headquarters and all that. Like, have you seen around it and stuff?
Oh yeah. So basically, their main headquarters is like half of downtown Seattle. But yeah, I've been. I've had like meetings and things in a few of the buildings. The Spheres are like a big, like kind of popular like tourist destination type thing. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, and that's like where Amazon Go is and stuff.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is like walking down the street, it's just like every 10 steps there's a group of people taking like selfies in front of something, which is kind of, I've been here a week and I'm already like, these tourists are in my way. But yeah, and I guess I wanted to talk about transportation. So the like kind of the differences between transportation here in Seattle and in Louisville, Kentucky, where I'm from, and you're from Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah. I've been here 3-4 months now.
So Pittsburgh, that's bigger than Louisville, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So maybe some of these will be familiar, but they all kind of stood out to me because the ways that you get around in Louisville, Kentucky is you drive. Maybe you like there are some people cycling or like riding their bikes, but you drive everywhere.
For the record, it's not bad for driving. Like I think that it does an all right job of like you can get places pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean it works. It's just
but you have to drive.
Yeah. And it was like I was never complaining that I had to drive. That was just the way you get around, and it would even in most cases be faster. Like
a lot of people could complain though because it's just you don't have a car, or it creates a lot of problems. But
I'm gonna list off all the different ways that it's like it's not just like some people do this. It's like huge groups of people do this where like they're probably fairly evenly split. Whereas in Kentucky, it's like 99% driving. So there's buses, just like regular buses. There's the light rail, which is basically a train, but it's just a single line that just goes up and down Seattle, basically from the airport, past through Seattle into like the north end. Like, so it's not like a whole. There's only one like track. So there's like multiple cars on the track, but there's only like it's just a straight shot basically,
just
up through Seattle,
or back and forth.
Yeah, just a back and forth. There's no, it's not like a big system like in maybe some other cities, but it is a thing. And then there's the monorail, which isn't really a form of transportation. That's more of a tourist destination. It's like a train that just goes maybe like 15 blocks up and down Seattle. But then there's like a fair amount of boosted boards, which I ordered one.
Yes.
There are Teslas everywhere. Specifically, the Model X is everywhere.
Huh.
I've even seen a few Model 3s. I haven't seen any Model 3s. Like Teslas are coming up more in Louisville, but like they're like every fifth car around here, it seems.
Well, it's a barren wasteland here for Teslas because they don't I don't know, something with Kentucky, they don't allow Tesla to sell cars here or whatever out of showrooms. Really? So there isn't a Tesla showroom, and I think the area is generally neglected as a Tesla area as a result. I saw one Model 3 though the other day. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Yeah, no, I ran to my car. Like I saw it while I was on the sidewalk, and I ran to my car and like chased it down.
I haven't chased any down, but I did sit in a Model X. So there's like a mall around here that has a Tesla, like I guess it's a dealership, Tesla store. I don't know, but they had a Model X, and they are snazzy. But then just to finish the list, there's more ways to get around. There's cycling, which is like a huge thing. Like there's like a steady stream of bikes going down any street. There are like company shuttles, so you'll see like Microsoft bus or like an Amazon bus or something just driving around everywhere.
Is it like, would you take that, or are you close enough you don't need to?
Or the thing about that is, so I'm like a 30-minute bus ride, but if I were to do the shuttle, I would have to like schedule it, and it wouldn't even really be that much faster than the bus. So I might as well just walk outside and just catch the bus that comes every 15 minutes. But it does go by where I live.
Do you think those shuttles are they a gimmick that makes people, want to work there and no one really uses it kind of thing, or like?
No, they're nice for like if you lived like further away, because the bus obviously has to like stop every 2 or 3 blocks. Where the further you live away from the city, the more transfers you have to go through, the more stops you have to hit. So if you were in like, so there's like Redmond, and then there's Seattle, and there's like all these different areas. Redmond is like, would take you a while on a bus, but if you're in like a shuttle, maybe it drives around has a few stops in Redmond, and then basically just drives straight to Amazon or whatever. So the shuttles are nice. And then the last thing is like, have you ever heard of Scoop?
No.
Okay, so
so.
I'd never had either, but apparently that's a pretty big thing too. Which it's just like a carpooling app. So it's for like
Oh, okay.
it's like it's not Lyft. It's like, hey, we're all going to work. I
Yeah.
live here and I'm going here. Can somebody pick me up, sort of thing? Which is an interesting sort of like like niche inside of the ride sharing category of apps.
Yeah.
And
Does it
then,
even bother with, like, do you just handle paying for gas with each other, or is it built into the app, or does whoever's driving just not care usually?
I haven't used it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's all done through the app.
Okay.
And then speaking of like the apps, so there's like, I use Transit, which I think that might be built by Google. It's not good though. So it's just like a bus kind of app for like when does the bus come to the stop sort of thing.
Yeah.
It has a few extra features that like Maps or like Google Maps doesn't have, but it's still awful and not accurate. So I'm looking for like a good bus route app, but as far as the times go, they're probably just not going to be accurate. But even the interface is kind of like doesn't do what I want it to do.
I had a pretty decent one for college, and I don't know if they're everywhere, and I also don't remember the name of it, so let's just leave it at that for right now. But it's like Loop, something with a loop.
Loop? I'll have to look it up.
Looped? I don't
know. And then just other, he'll probably cut these things out, but this is just like personal annoyances of a new city. So having to find a haircut place. So like in Louisville, I went to the same, like I had to switch people like a haircut place once in Louisville, and it was like a big fiasco. I had to go to like 10 different places before I found Nikki, which was my new haircut lady.
in Seattle.
No, that was in Louisville. So I went to a place today, and I just wanted to say that it failed my. So I have like a little checklist.
What is your haircut checklist?
So price is like a thing. I want it to be like not crazy expensive.
Okay.
They have to have like online booking to where I can like say I'll be here at this time and I could just walk in, which somehow this place doesn't have. It was walk in only.
Let's stop on that one real quick.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like I've never had to wait more than like 5 minutes. I don't know if Seattle's like a busier place, but I just walk in.
I've just gone to places like a few times to where I had to wait like 20 minutes, and that was enough an annoyance to make online scheduling a part of the checklist.
Okay. What else is on there?
It's got to be walkable distance to where I work. So the place I found in Louisville was like 4 blocks away. They've got to accept Apple Pay. That's not a demand. That's just more of a preference. I could leave that if I needed to. And then we noticed we haven't gotten to like actual haircut quality yet, but that's pretty standard.
Can you tell?
Yeah. And then the most important thing is small talk. So the hairstylist has to just not like constantly talk the whole time.
Oh, not small.
Yeah. So if there's no small talk, and then that's a winner. Because the thing about that is it's the same conversation every time. It's like, oh, how's your day going? What are you doing this weekend? And like they don't care, and they're gonna forget 5 seconds after I tell them. And if they do remember, they're gonna get it mixed up with the last person that they asked. So it's just better for everybody if we're all just silent and we just
nice haircut, by the way, Gil.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, I won't be going back there. They did fail, so I'll be looking at other places. But
on the topic of what to talk about, so what I do is I kind of just look for sort of a trendy-ish looking place, I guess. I don't know. I kind of hate every option, but like I look for, like, here there's one called Derby City Chop Shop. Have you seen that? And they kind of look modern, and I don't love it, but I went there one time, and it's okay. It's okay. Well, I think though that there is a lot of opportunity in the barber world for novelty, and I'm sure Seattle has it because we have it here with our beards and whatever. Do you remember what that one's called? There's
Yeah,
something
that's the
in
one that I landed on there. Was beards
yeah,
and beers, beers and
yeah,
beards. One of
and
those.
that's kind of interesting. Yeah, you can get a beer. I think it'd be like interesting if you could like a podcast oriented barbershop that would have to work in Seattle. I
Yeah.
can't imagine it not. So it's kind of
Or
a
even
shame
just
if there's
playing podcasts. Is that what you mean?
yeah play them or just like even if they just encouraged you to listen to a podcast or like I
Yeah.
don't know like
It'd be cool
recommended
to have
one.
like you could sign up. So say I'm getting my haircut 5 o'clock, and then there's a checkbox. Say I'm like a really talkative person, which I'm not, and I would never check this, but maybe that would be the novelty. Is that hey, I want my small talk conversation with the hairstylist to be recorded for a podcast episode. That might be kind of cool.
Oh, as a podcast episode, that would be
Yeah.
cool. I was thinking just like maybe when you make your appointment, it I don't know, it suggests a few podcasts and you just click one and it's like, cool, we'll have that waiting for you and you can listen.
Yeah.
But to produce a podcast on the spot would also be really interesting.
Yeah. Have you seen like I think it's called Faces of New York, something like that, where they
Yeah, like Humans of New York.
Humans of New York. Yeah, it's just like photography, different regular people around New York, and sometimes they're
Yeah.
like little bios. It'd be similar to that, and it's just like, oh, this is just like the people of Louisville getting their haircut, the people of Seattle getting their haircut, whatever.
That'd be pretty awesome, actually. I've always thought too that it'd be amazing to do a barbershop quartet, as in have 4 people that not only cut the hair but are singing in a barbershop quartet.
I would never go there.
I would absolutely go there. And I looked it up. That did not like that phrase didn't originate as like a barber shop. I don't know where the word for barbershop quartet came from, but this has never been a thing.
So barbershop has another meaning besides place you get your haircut?
No, I just mean like there were not in the past barbershops that would sing in a quartet.
Gotcha.
Which is what I thought maybe was where this word came from in the first place. But no, this would be a first time that it's ever happened. And this would work in Seattle. We should really start a barbershop.
Yeah, it sounds like we need to start multiple.
You got to get that Venn diagram crossover with like people that can sing and people that can cut hair, or people that
It's got to be at least 4.
Yeah. I guess if you just do the podcast thing though, you don't need a special skill set. Just like
you've got to be able to talk to people and it be
I mean, you could match the barbers like by what their interests are and stuff, and then do the podcast on that.
Yeah, kind of like how we did for Two Tims Talking. It was just kind of like you just submit things that you're interested in.
I'm gonna look into this now. I don't know if you could do some kind of like pop-up barbershop thing. Like I don't want to buy a store, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but like there has to be Uber for haircuts, right?
Oh, I wonder if there's an app that I could just have somebody come to my apartment and come.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's gotta be a thing.
Or like
I'll have to look
there was an app that was like Uber for bouncers. So we've got that. You can just like summon a bouncer.
Yeah, there's the one for helicopters, which I've downloaded the app and then realized it was still too expensive. What is the name of Brady's podcast where he like thinks of ideas?
Oh, the Unmade podcast.
Yeah. I think we're doing that, except for right now we're specifically targeted to barbershops, but
it's just ideas. We just have ideas. I have ideas on my list here. I have more ideas, Gil.
Okay.
But barbershop quartet was not one of them. I do want to say though, before we move on from the barbershop stuff, that I went to a place the other day that did not even accept credit card.
What?
Or like debit card.
And I was like, business?
I don't know. I was like, I'm just gonna give you like a shoe or something, and I'm gonna go to an ATM and I'll be right back. And they were like, no, just tomorrow or whenever you get a chance, come back. And I was like,
that wasn't a real barbershop. That was some sort of money laundering thing.
Okay, I have another question.
Yeah.
On the boosted board.
Yeah.
I guess, did you get, I don't remember exactly types, but there's like a more powerful and a less powerful one, at least. I think there's like probably 4 types, right? Of
Yeah, the
boosteds.
lineup's really weird right now, though. There are five,
5?
6 boards on the
Oh.
website right now. So there are there's like the new mini one. Have you seen that?
Oh, shit. No, I did not.
So they have the mini board, which is like 9 inches shorter than the long board that they'd have, and they have two
Yeah.
versions of that. So they have a short range and a long range version of that. From what I can tell, the only real difference is that it's just the battery capacity. I don't like, maybe it might be a little faster, but it looks really cool. The only issue was that it was like 10 weeks before it would be shipped. So just purely because I'm not patient enough. Like it'll be
Mm-hmm.
rainy in 10 weeks and summer will be almost over. So I got and then you can do there's a new generation of the longboard. And then you can buy the second generation. They're still I guess
Oh,
producing
yeah.
that. So I just bought the second generation 7 mile capacity. It's like
Mm-hmm.
$1,000, but it was previously I think like 1,500 or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
the battery is also removable on that one. So if I ever do want to upgrade to a longer range, I can just at least from what I can tell, I can just buy the battery and just swap that out.
Cool.
But yeah, so Amazon or the office that I'm in is like 3 or 4 miles from where I live. The issue is I also live at the bottom of like a 45-degree hill,
Mm-hmm.
so
Oh,
uh, I'll have
that's
to
kind of
see how
terrible
well that works. But
both ways because you can't even just. Well, maybe the boosted can just glide down it like a regular skateboard. You'd get too fast on. I don't know if the
oh
boosted
yeah,
like just breaks and charges itself.
yeah, it has the regenerative braking, um, and I'm pretty sure I'm not quite sure if that's like to a point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
is it regenerative? But it maybe if you have to hit the brakes, like basically hit the reverse button, that probably still takes battery. But but yeah, it should be able to make it up. Oh, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're still waiting on that then, right?
Yeah, I just ordered that today.
Okay. Did you consider any other electric kind of boards, or do you write for the boosteds?
Um, I've like looked into some other ones. From what I can tell, they're all like made in China, so I don't really
Mm,
trust any. Like the boosted board has just like glowing reviews across the board.
yeah.
No pun
The
intended.
one I would throw into the mix. I don't want to do any kind of buyer's remorse here, but there's one called Outerboard. I think it's Outerboard. And they look like they have a pretty promising competitor there.
Is it
Mostly the thing.
like a flexible
What?
board?
No, no, it's pretty. It's basically the same deal, except I think their key difference is that they are building the motors right into the wheels, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something like you can, like I don't know what the boosteds if you have to like send in the board to get the batteries changed out or
The battery is removable, I'm pretty sure. And then there are
they're
like
just removable.
kits for replacing the belts and things because the battery or the motor is outside of the wheel.
Okay.
And I have looked at some other boards. Those specifically are interesting because I think they're waterproof.
Oh, the outer
Um,
boards.
I don't know about those, but like some other ones where the motor is like in the
Oh,
wheel. Those from the ones that I've looked at are waterproof, but I just don't really trust them. I guess I just want to buy something that I know is going to work, and that seems to be the
yeah,
boosted.
yeah. It clarification. It is called inboard. Their logo is like an O though, so I get confused about it. They're like a Kickstarter thing, so
Yeah.
I think Boosted has some more credibility. But also, I think the inboards have been out now. Some like they're real. They
How much are
exist. So
those?
they're probably like sort of the same price. I don't know. I was just
Okay.
wondering if you had looked into them because they've got a look to them. They're not
Yeah.
bad either. But
I've
the
been.
Boosteds, those are built right on the what are the boards? Loaded boards? No, yeah, loaded boards, right?
You mean the name of the deck?
The deck they use is like another longboard manufacturer's
Oh,
deck,
okay.
which I think is loaded. and those are like quality decks. So then Boosted just kind of slaps on the motors, but like in a really elegant way that looks pretty
Yeah,
badass. So.
that's another reason why I like Boosted, because some of the other ones that I looked at are like very stiff boards. So it's just like some sort of like, I don't know, like hard plastic all the way across. It doesn't flex at all. Where the Boosted board is like a proper long board.
They're like, I don't know if yours exactly, but I know a lot of the ones that Loaded makes are like the bamboo boards.
Yeah, so that's what the Boosted board is. It's a bamboo board.
Yeah.
I've been wanting one of these things for like 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool that I can finally have an excuse to buy one.
You need like the reason.
Right, yeah. Because it's like, if it can make it up that hill, it'll be faster than taking the bus to work.
Have you like skated before?
I have like a penny board.
Oh, you do?
But yeah, I only ever used that. I've never like there was like a brief like couple weeks as a kid where I tried to like be a skateboarder because I was like obsessed with Tony Hawk. But I was not good at it at all. So I've only ever just like cruised on a penny board.
I don't remember if we talked about this before, but like I'm like huge into just cruising around with the penny board.
I didn't know. So I know that you showed me how to use Fusion 360, like one of the first times that we met, and you showed me this like magnetic backpack thing that you designed.
Yeah.
But that's really all I know about the extent of how much you are into penny boards.
I pretty much just if I'm going somewhere, like if I go any other city, I definitely just take one with me because you can even sneak them on the plane. It's a funny thing. So TSA doesn't care about skateboards, but like some airlines, like budget airlines, like Spirit Airlines, care about having skateboards on like carry on for some reason. So what I do is I like essentially smuggle the plane on, or the airplane, the board onto the plane because they would charge me otherwise. And then I skate around in the city, and it's a really solid way to get around compared to just walking an Uber. Because then if you call an Uber, you just pick it up,
Have they said something? So they've said something to you before about having a board?
Spirit? Yeah, they have charged me $50 before about having a board.
I flew, so I bring it whenever I fly, or like the past few years I have. So when I came to Seattle for my interview, I just like had it not even in my backpack. I just had it like in the straps of my backpack, and the TSA agent was like asking me if I was gonna. She was like, "Oh, you see how fast you can get to your terminal on that?" And I was like, "If that's giving me permission to ride it in here, then yeah, I will." And she was like, "I guess not."
There's some of those skateboard things, or like little suitcases that turn into like little go-karts or whatever, or like have wheels and you can kind of ride them.
Yeah.
I don't know that they really have grounds to not allow you to ride your skateboard in the terminal.
Yeah, so. I mean, I guess I would understand because they don't want people to like fall and get hurt and then have to like there's some liability there. But
yeah,
bringing it should be fine. And even like I think the boosted board even is allowed on, but I think there is a battery tier to where like the battery's too big to bring on a plane.
Oh yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the 7 mile is fine.
Yeah, I don't know all the details, but Spirit like if they realize it, technically their company policy is to not allow it. I don't know if most employees know that, but some do. And then they'll fight you on it. But yeah, like my favorite, a lot of good memories with the penny boards. But like, so for example, I was doing the Hyperloop competition. So for the first one, we were down there, and it's a mile-long tube, and there's a bunch of stuff set up like all along the tube. I just went back and forth nonstop. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Like I was almost thinking, is someone gonna yell at me from SpaceX and say like no skateboarding? Because it was a street essentially, but closed down for the event, and no one ever did. So I just kept going back and forth, and it was a great time. And it's really easy to get around.
Yeah, I brought it.
Boosted's it's like the next level.
I brought it to Seattle when I came, and it was like unusable because like the hills here are so steep. So I didn't get to use it. So that's kind of like the reason I didn't buy the boosted board in Louisville is because I could just take the penny board wherever I wanted to go. And if I just wanted to kind of like go around. But since I can't do that in Seattle because the hills are so steep, I guess I have to buy a boosted board.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have more for Seattle stuff?
No. Do you want to get into the startup bus stuff?
Well, I think I want to talk real quick about some interfaces that have changed on me because that's like a segment on this show.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so two things have changed on me. One is that Reddit has turned into now everyone uses the regular Reddit.
Okay.
And if you want to use the old Reddit, you have to type old in the URL, and I feel like an old man.
No, the new is so
I
much
don't know
better.
if
You got to get used to it.
I don't even know. Did you notice that this was implemented for everyone since you had the new Reddit
No, I
look
didn't know
enabled? Oh yeah, so it got pushed to everywhere. And let me tell you, not a fan.
that. Really?
Not a fan.
Okay.
Mostly because, well, so first of all, it's very like jarring. You're just like, anytime I'm on Reddit, I'm like, I'm trying to get something specific done. So to not know how things work and where things are is like really annoying. But then on top of that, it is definitely more resource intensive.
Oh, really?
Like, because just regular Reddit, you're basically loading like a Craigslist page, and it's an older feel, but it's also like it loads really fast. And this goes to our discussion from like last time where we were talking about like they will push the boundary as soon as it gets like fast. They'll be like, "Ooh, we need to add some animations to this page," and so
Right.
that's what you've got with Reddit now. And I really don't like how they pop out either.
Yeah, I didn't like that at first, but I actually do like that now.
What advantage do you get about that?
So you could still open it in a new tab. So I guess just
Right.
like the difference is it's just faster because you don't have to wait for a page load when clicking in and out of articles or in and out of comments or whatever. But if you want to open up so sometimes maybe I'll go down like a list and just hit command and then click a few and it'll open those in new tabs. So if they would have gotten rid of that, like the option to open it up in its own window, I probably wouldn't have liked it. But the big advantage is just not having to wait for the page load or losing your place in the feed, just going in and out of threads.
Are you saying not having to like load the same elements around the page when you click in?
I guess I just mean like, so say you clicked on the comment thread for the first item. You're then on a new page, and then you say, okay, I want to go back. You hit the back button. It reloads the page. You scroll down, and maybe you're on the 50th one now. You click in and click back, like going back and forth like that.
Okay. That's fair enough. Mostly I don't like it because, I mean, one, I'm scared of new things. But two, and the bigger thing is that, like, I can feel it being less responsive. And maybe that's just like not optimized or whatever. But on my little baby MacBook here, I don't know if that's ever going to change. So I have enabled old mode.
I haven't noticed if it. I could see why it's really annoying if it like feels slower. I haven't noticed that, but it's definitely possible that it's doing that because it is, like you said before, it was just like very minimal styling, basically a Craigslist page.
And then, so the other thing that has updated is Castro, which is my podcast player, if you remember. Okay. And this is a week ago now, and just realized it. But they have so they do iterations. There was Castro 1, Castro 2, which they just call it Castro. But now we're on Castro 3. So there's like a major change in things. And so what they have done, and this is good news for you, Gil, because they have made it a subscription-based model. But there is like a free tier, so it's pretty much, we're talking freemium here. And the most basic tier has just what you need and basically what you need. And it's essentially what Castro 2 was, so what I was using. So it doesn't have individual podcast settings, and it doesn't have the silence trimming, and it doesn't have they have a couple cool features. There's one thing you can like set a count-in time, or like basically when you start a new episode, it just skips the first like however many seconds you say, because presumably that's the same intro like every time.
That's nice.
Some podcasts. Yeah, so stuff like that. Trying to remember what other things. It has like the chapter thing now, and you can skip chapters, and they went pretty all out. It even has one of these little things that tells you how much time you've like saved with the trimming feature and all that. So but so the trimming and all these fancy features are if you subscribe, and the subscription is like $8 or $9 a year. I don't remember which one right now, but it's $1 less than Overcast.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Um,
not bad.
yeah, so it's cheaper than Overcast. It's actually like beautifully designed. It has pretty much all comparable features, and I think it even has a couple features up on Overcast. Debatable. I think Overcast probably has some unique features too, so it's just which one you like more, I guess. Um, but it's pretty solid. And the free one, which so now you can try the app for free, is even really great on its own. It's just if you need those other features, you're gonna have to pay that subscription.
Okay. So the subscription is for extra features. It's not an ad
It's very much
model.
like Overcast.
Okay. Because Overcast free tier is, I'm pretty sure, everything plus ads. So I think you just like, it's not like a feature thing. It's just like a removing ads thing.
Yeah, no, okay.
It also like enables dark mode, but there are no features withheld.
Okay. I take everything back then. Well, I take some of that back then. It is not, I guess, exactly like that. There are premium features if you subscribe. If you don't subscribe, it's what it was before, and we talked about how it was kind of limited, but I liked it. But I don't think there's ads.
What are the premium features?
For Castro, premium features are going to be individual app settings, individual podcast settings, the trim silence, night mode, voice enhance, chapter advance, or chapter stuff, automatic start ahead of the thing. I think there's one more that I'm not remembering right now. But they did a pretty solid job, and they like reworked the interface look, and they reworked the actual like player like underneath it all, like the core of it.
Yeah.
So it's a really impressive update. It's free now to basically try, and then the subscription. I think they did a really solid job.
Maybe I'll take another look just to be curious, but I can't imagine switching away from Overcast. Especially like these smart playlists is a big part of why I like Overcast. So you could say like I have my different playlists. You can organize them differently. You could say like include this one or exclude this set, and I just have like these segments of podcasts to listen to when I'm in whatever particular mood.
That's probably the biggest differentiator right now, because they don't have this concept of playlists at all. It's just sort of like an email type inbox queuing thing, and so it's kind of one unified thing, and I love that. And I get that a lot of people like their very advanced power user features, but I like what they've done. The one problem though is that right now I don't want to subscribe. I don't want to have the ability to trim the silence. Mm-hmm. Like having that feature, that I would rather pay to not have that feature, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but with Overcast, it's like you can choose per podcast. So I have all of my news podcasts with the smart speed on and like faster speed. But like my entertainment podcasts, like Hello Internet or Complete Guides to Everything, those are all just like regular.
Yeah.
You know, 1X.
My point is, like, I kind of like the simplicity, and I really like not messing with the just natural human voice as it comes across. Mm-hmm. Like, so Gray and on Hello Internet, they talk about how you lose something when you cut out those gaps.
Yeah.
And you lose something by speeding it up. And I only speed it up if I'm trying to make it fit in some kind of time window that I have.
Yeah. You talked about a feature last time. It doesn't exist, but it was like, I have this 2-hour podcast, but I want to listen to it in an hour and a half. And it would just adjust accordingly and update to make sure you finish on a certain time. That would be a really cool feature.
I would love that. Or I think I mentioned too, is I just want it to tell me the remaining time, like real time, as I adjust the speed, you know? So like right now, if you have 1 hour remaining in a podcast and you put it at 2x, it's still going to say 1 hour because you know, it's 1 hour in regular speed. But I would love if it cut down to half an hour when I change it to 2 times, just so I could gauge like how much. Very quickly you could see how much time is it going to take me to get through this.
Yeah. It's kind of shocking that none of them do that, because that's just like very simple math. It wouldn't be something that would be difficult to implement.
And it wouldn't really like, I don't think it would confuse anyone, even if you didn't give the option to turn that off. I think it would like, everyone would get it. Oh yeah, there's less time real time to finish this episode because I sped it up. I don't know. The one thing that I don't like is, I don't want to pay the subscription. I do want to support the guys because it's like $10 a year, whatever. However, I specifically don't want the features that come with upgrading.
Not even dark mode?
Well, okay, so there's this little caveat where if you had Castro 2, because that was a feature of Castro 2, and the enhanced voice was a feature of Castro 2, if you're coming from there to Castro 3, you get those two things for free. And I'm in that category, and I do really appreciate both of those things, but I already have them. So I don't want to enable those features. I might give into it because it's like nothing. But if I don't give into it, in the meantime, right now on like the options page and everything, I have in the dead center, I have a trim silence button that has a little lock on it. And I just hate that like constantly now my interface has a feature that I'm not paying for.
Or even that it's like there and you can't use it. Like just don't even show it if I can't use it.
Yeah, and there's like it comes across in like with the chapters, you can kind of like click the chapters thing, and then it's like you need to upgrade to Castro Plus, and I'm like, I'm very aware that I need to upgrade to that to use this feature, but like I would really prefer that those elements not be visible if I'm not on it, if I'm not paying for Plus. So I don't know. It's pretty interesting because now it's free, and they did a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, but we've talked a bit around like our task managing apps and to do apps. So I've started using Todoist at work because, well, I'm forced to use a PC, and I feel like I'm moving in slow motion at all times. But also what comes with that is that I don't have the apps that I typically use. So Todoist is cross-platform, so I've been using Todoist.
I'm kind of surprised. Well, do you want to go on about Todoist real quick? Or?
No, not really. Other than that's just what I'm using as my task manager right now instead of to do. Like the number 2 do is what I would probably be using. But yeah, some people do have Macs. It's mainly for designers and developers, though. So
I was going to say, you're in a role that it shouldn't really matter at all, right?
Yeah, it's purely a productivity thing. It's like not. It's just I move faster on a Mac. The biggest thing is like the trackpad is like 1,000 times better, but then what comes along with that is like switching spaces. So on a PC, they do have spaces, but like they're locked in if you're on a dual monitor. So it's kind of unusable because there's no fast way of switching between spaces. And also, if you switch a space on your right monitor, your left monitor also changes. Basically, what Mac OS was doing when it first like a few years ago.
Well, see, I would understand if this was a smaller company or like a company that was more B2B and less concerned about like productivity and work environment, all that. But Amazon is like top of the tier. You know, they should be very concerned with the environment, like around the employees and people having their preferences and everything. And it's not like some people, it's not like they're all using PC and it would be a lot to switch.
Yeah.
So, you know, some people have the Mac. So you'd think like if someone just requested a Mac, they could be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll make that happen then.
I haven't pressed it too hard. I have brought it up, though.
I'm surprised it's not just like, which one do you want?
Yeah.
Because they're already deploying them for some of their employees. And it's not like they don't have the resources to make it happen. Like if it was a smaller company, sure. Like it sucks to run 2 different operating systems as the IT guy, but like it's Amazon. Come on, guys.
Well, also like so they have this thing called 14 leadership principles. Which is like,
you mentioned that.
Yeah, so there's like customer obsession. There's like all these things, and one of them is frugality. So I guess I guess it aligns with that. It's just like, we're not gonna spend.
Is it cheaper?
Yeah, so I guess we're not gonna spend the money on a Mac if we don't have to. So that aligns with this principle. So we're going to do that. But it also just makes me move twice as slow. So maybe I'll push it more later on once I'm not the new guy. But
do you kind of like those principles in general? I think I've
overall they're great. They're really interesting, and it's just like a great framework for thinking about things and like aligning the business. So when you have like thousands of people, I think they're up to like 500,000 people.
Yeah.
Um, you know, having like these kind of cliche, kind of corny, but like really helpful kind of laws in place just keeps everybody on the same page and say like, okay, you're suggesting we do this thing. Does it align with our principles? Yes or no?
Yeah.
It just kind of keeps things moving along efficiently. So it is really
I do think
nice.
I do think it's kind of helpful. However, it like for as kind of cool I feel Amazon is, they're up there in coolness.
Hmm.
Like, does Apple have these like written laws or anything? Like, I know that
Um,
this.
I've I don't
I don't.
remember the specifics, so this isn't even going to be very helpful. But I have like a vague memory of seeing on Reddit like the back of an Apple employee's badge that had like some sort of laws
Oh,
on it.
huh.
I don't remember what they were. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, maybe they
Um,
do then.
I have seen something like that though.
I was just gonna say it does seem a little like corporate goofy, and
Oh yeah.
Jeff kind
Oh
of
man.
seems like a nerd that would be into that, so it doesn't surprise me too much. But
Yeah.
like,
The orientation was like straight out of Silicon Valley. It was it was like, lots of inspirational speeches from Jeff Bezos, like a big stage. There's like 200 people being hired like twice a
oh
week
shoot,
in these
that's
big
pretty cool.
orientation sessions. It's like they really just like funnel you through this process to where like passports, we'll take in that here. Here's your backpack. Here's the auditorium. Here are like a bunch of questions to ask people at your table, that kind of
Mm,
stuff. I mean, the whole experience was like really cool and really helpful, and a lot like it really like they know what they're doing, but it's also just
yeah,
kind of funny in that it's like straight out of Silicon Valley, like basically what you would see like a wholly new hire orientation like.
yeah. Despite not being, in Silicon Valley though. But yeah, I get you.
Yeah, well, I mean like the TV show Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, I got you. Did you happen to get to meet the richest man in the world yet?
No, I haven't met him or seen him at all. Um,
Keep an eye out.
yeah, he's like, you go up like 5 or 6 bosses, and that's where he is from me.
Mm.
But they surprisingly let you talk to him, like you have access to like upper management, which is really interesting. So like the guy that's like 2 or 3 people down from Jeff Bezos, like I have a meeting with next week to like do like just
Mm.
introductions. So it's surprisingly flat structure.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Did you go to the store yet?
Amazon Go, where you just walk in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
yeah I've gone there a few times. That's where I get just like drinks and stuff. But it is really cool.
Oh yeah, I think we did talk about this a little bit,
Yeah,
huh?
I,
remember
I
you
went to it
mentioning
when I came for my interview.
Right, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But
And
I
you're
walk
like,
past it a lot, so that's I'll walk in and grab things now.
is it
But it's really
like,
cool.
so it works, right? You think it
Oh
works
yeah,
pretty well.
I haven't had
Do
any
you
issues.
really care versus if it had like a checkout thing?
Oh yeah, because you don't have
Yeah.
to. There are no lines. There's no waiting at all. Like it
Like,
tells you like, and I'm sure they do this on purpose, but it tells you like how long you were in the store.
mm-hmm.
And from the point of like me checking my thing to go in and get something and coming out, it was like 20 seconds, and I just went in to like grab a drink.
What is the quickest possible time that someone could get something legally from that store? Could you
Like
do it
less
in
than 5 seconds.
5? You have to scan a thing? I don't remember how it
You
works.
so there's like you walk in and there's like a little like glass sort of like turnstile or gate kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you have an app on your phone for Amazon Go that just has a QR code on it, and then there's like a little scanner. So what you do is you walk to the gate, you scan your QR code, and you walk in and just grab whatever you want, and then you walk out whenever.
If you have a free second, I would really appreciate if you could like take a video of you trying to buy something as quickly as possible and just see what it can be at the very
Yeah.
quickest.
Just like running in and out and like you can't really steal from here. So do I react? Everybody just really confused. Yeah,
Like
but
that
yeah,
should be like a Seattle like this should be a thing that local
like a race.
people are trying to set the record for.
Yeah, it's gotta be because there were things right by the door, so I'm sure you could scan. Like half the time you'll spend waiting on the gate to actually open for you to get out,
Oh yeah.
but you just scan, grab it, and leave. Okay, do you want to start?
Uh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'll start by giving kind of an overview here of what Startup Bus is. And before we even get started, I'll say that what is it called, that podcast that covered it? Didn't you listen to one of them?
Yeah, it's just called Startup.
Oh yeah,
It's on
just
Gimel.
Startup. So I don't remember what like number it is right now, but the Startup podcast has 3 or 4 or 5 episodes about Startup Bus. And I think they capture it pretty well from what I listened to of it. So that's a really good way to learn kind of more about what this is about. But anyway, Startup Bus is kind of what they describe as like an entrepreneurial boot camp. But in my own language, I would say take what a startup weekend is, which is, in case someone's not aware what that is, you get together for an event, and over the course of a weekend, like 72 hours, you try to create a startup with like a pitch deck and try to see if you can get a real customer and see what the product is. And it's all from scratch. Like there's no idea, brand new. You don't know any of the people that go there unless you like go with a friend or whatever. So that's a startup weekend, and those are events that you can attend all around cities, which is also really cool. But Startup Bus basically takes that and puts it on a bus. So 6 buses every year. This is an annual event. Leave from various cities, 6 or 7, kind of changes. This has been going since like 2010, but one is from Mexico, and then all over the United States. 6 buses leave over the course of 3 days. They drive and converge on one city. Along the way, people form teams. Nobody knows each other. Nobody has any definite idea what they're working on, but they come up with some kind of like startup that they want to work on, and then they just get at it. They work on it on the bus, and then along the way we stop at cool cities and check out cool spaces around wherever we happen to be. And a lot of times it goes very out of the way. Like we almost, or did we go to Atlanta? I don't even remember right now, but like you go pretty out of the way. So the one I was on, we went from Ohio, my buddy was running it, down to New Orleans or Nolans or whatever. And the year that I rode, the other thing about it, Startup Bus was run like entirely every year by just alumni, which is pretty cool. It's not like some kind of huge corporate entity. It's pretty kind of, it's down to earth, So it's organized by people that have done it, and it makes it almost a little bit ragtag because like some unexpected situations will come up that we'll get into. But I really like it for that. But so anyway, you work on things, you stop at places, and then you all get down to the same location where there's a pitch event, and then one person or one team wins, and then they win nothing. And actually, they even made a big, like the dude that organized it, this like buff Australian guy, he made even a big deal about it this year, that the competition at the end is kind of pointless. Like he put this event together like with buddies over drinks at South by Southwest one year. And they were like, well, we need a reason for like people to be going places. So like, how about a pitch competition? But you don't win anything. But regardless of that, people get like very into it. They stay up like all night and just go nonstop on their pitches and their practice and everything. People get really into it, really excited about it. And I think it's generally a really good time. So that's my 101 there.
In the podcast, they kind of frame it up like, or they kind of start like everybody gets on the bus and like nothing's decided yet, and everybody belts out ideas, and then like groups kind of form around what ideas people want to work on. So did you have any ideas going into the bus, or kind of how did you get to your group?
So in 2016, when I rode, this year I was like a mentor kind of. 2016, I got on the bus. I don't remember what I pitched, but they try to get every single person to pitch, which is what they'll do at like a startup weekend too. They really encourage like everyone to have an idea. And then just from that, I don't personally love this, and I'm trying to kind of make it like bring about change in this area, but then they're really just like, all right, form teams.
Yeah.
You're on a crowded bus and you're like, what, like trying to get around people, talking to people, and whatever teams fall out of it. That's kind of how things go. And I think personally that could be improved, but whatever, it works. And that's what happens at a startup weekend or at hackathons if you go to those. And the team formation is never something I've been overly impressed with. But yeah, I mean, I pitched some idea and then somebody said something about I worked on when I wrote it like products for parents because the one guy was a dad and he's like really great friend of mine now.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, so it actually it legitimately turned into some really awesome friendships and a great experience. But yeah, we worked on a just goofy idea that turned like at one point I was at a serious low. I was like, why am I even on this bus? But then like somewhere around the middle of it, I was like, I freaking love Startup Bus. So it's a roller coaster of emotions. A lot of things don't go as planned this year in Louisville. So we stayed at a hotel just north of Louisville. The bus broke down. We had to push it. There happened to be like a service center for buses like across the road from our hotel. We pushed the bus over there. Everybody got Ubers to this place called First Build that's right down the street from me.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you've been there, right?
Yeah.
That First Build was awesome. The CEO of GE Appliances just happened to be there when we
Oh,
were there.
really?
And so yeah, everybody pitched to him, which was pretty cool because he's like, he's up there. And some of the hosts that showed us around are just really, really cool and into it. So that kind of stop, maker spaces and things like that, and then other spaces in cool cities and
What
entrepreneurial stuff.
what kind of bus is it? Is it like a tank? Like not a tank, but is it like a Greyhound kind of bus, or is it like a school bus?
Yeah, it is. So this was what I wondered when I first rode because they actually had this picture that looked like it was some kind of special bus that was modified. It is not. It is a standard charter bus. Sometimes they do have like two sort of tables on the bus,
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like two of the teams can kind of use tables out of that, but otherwise pretty much standard charter bus. And actually, the guy that we charter the buses from he was the driver for the first startup bus ever, and as a result of having driven for startup bus, he like decided to start his own bus company. Like he was just a driver
Oh,
that got
awesome.
chartered, and then he was like, I'm starting a bus company, and then we were like, we're going to use your buses. So it's kind of a
Hmm.
cool startup story in itself right there.
Yeah, that is cool. By
Yeah.
any chance, do any of the buses leave from Seattle or near Seattle?
Oh yeah, there's always a San Francisco bus, which is probably sometimes I think there's even a Canada bus. So maybe it would pass through Seattle there, like Vancouver type.
Yeah, because I would really want to do that, but
Yeah,
I hadn't even heard of it until you told me to listen to the podcast.
I know. It's weird. I did like a full-blown analysis of everything that's like this with kind of like you get on a vehicle and you either do a hackathon or a game jam or like a bus type or a startup thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um and Startup Bus is like by far the largest one. It's been going for 8 years strong here, and it's actually like pretty not well known though, and it's kind of this weird little niche thing of people. The cool thing is people self-select, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the description that's put forth is like this is going to be boot camp, crazy weird adventure kind of thing, and people that want to do it kind of come out of the woodwork to do it, and it
Does it
works out
cost
pretty well
anything?
that way. It does cost I think it's like 400, which is so not super cheap, but I mean you get
Yeah,
kind of
it's
the
cheap
value out
for
of that.
like
Yeah.
5 days worth of traveling around the country.
Yeah, it's not bad. The thing about it, like you do end up this is the thing. It's so organized by alumni is where it gets to be kind of like a ragtag thing. It's just like you get bus breakdowns. You get like a couple of the times we just didn't even know where we were going to stay that night because you just kind of you roll with the punches and be spontaneous about it. We got this beautiful Airbnb one time. We had the bus on like a back country road. This is a place that's usually like for weddings.
Yeah,
And we had
all the
this
Airbnb.
enormous bus on this like tiny dirt road. It's just like fun weird things like that. But yeah, you sometimes like people pay for hotel rooms or people pay for their own food, so it's not like 400 all
Right.
inclusive. And also, the thing that I kind of think is dumb is you also have to find your way home. So,
Oh,
like, it would kind of make sense and be cool if you took the bus back, but I think they just drive back empty. Um,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yes, the startup podcast episode. I guess it was like it sounded like a group, and then every day basically you pitch to somebody, and you improve your pitch every day up until the big pitch at the end in New Orleans.
Yeah, they
So,
really push the pitching.
dude, were you involved in the pitching at all?
I was so for this most recent one this year, I kind of mentored, and yeah, so I mostly help people with like, um, here's a list of questions that could come forward on a pitch. Does each member of your team know
Mm.
how to answer these properly, kind of thing? So that's a big part of the pitch. It's it's so interesting, like how hard it is to do, but how easy a simple pitch is. So like, there's this software that we got some like license keys or whatever for everyone to use. It's one of the sponsors uh, that I wish I could remember the name of, but I don't. uh, but it's Live Plan or something maybe. It's just like business planning software.
Oh, okay.
And what it does after you fill it all out is it's got these little sections, and it's like, here's our target, customer. Here's the potential, and like it just breaks it down into like 5 categories or something. And if you go one by one, this is what we're doing. This is the problem. This is what we're solving. This is who we're kind of targeting. This is when we expect to break even, kind of thing. If you just go down that, it's a great pitch. But people, they end up kind of fixated on probably the problem too much or something. So there's a lot of like really refining that for people.
Yeah. That's the less or the problem is the more interesting side. The like financials doesn't really get people excited.
Yeah, it's just it's a really good experience. It's really hard. It's harder than it seems. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have some more questions about it?
Um, I guess I'm more curious about. So I guess you weren't really on a specific team this last time. You mentored all the teams or one team, and
Yeah, I mentored everyone on my bus. So
so like your first time around.
it's like four
Then
teams.
like tell me more about the product that you guys went with, and like what your role was in building the
Mm.
pitch. Like, did you do any design stuff, or did you do any like technical like coding stuff, or
I did design stuff. The interesting thing about when I rode is they had themes for the buses, and our bus's theme was like Maker Bus, and every other bus was like San Francisco's like transportation, and New York was like food or something like that. Um, and that's great for them because Maker Bus on a bus is tricky because we all felt like we had to have a physical product, but obviously we didn't have access to anything to make a physical product except for like 3D printers at the places we would stop for however long we would stop.
yeah,
So that complicated things a lot. I ended up doing a lot of kind of design work and just figuring out kind of how to pitch it, and it came together all right. I think it looked pretty cool by the end of it.
well,
We got
you said it was something about parenting. What was it? What was the
Yeah, well,
product?
that's like the thing is we were like, well, what the hell? What we kind of ended up doing was rather than pitch a specific device, and the judges didn't, I think, love this as much as just a very clear cut idea, but I kind of liked it for our purposes because we weren't just like straight up set out to win. So we kind of framed it as like we want to create a company that makes products that help parents, right? And it's like, how can we have kids and parents coexist harmoniously within one home rather than have walk in and you see all these toys all about, and like how can we kind of solve and fix that problem a little bit. And so we had some like concept ideas. One thing we had was sort of like a device that would dispense treats, and it sort of offloaded like the parent, instead of the parent saying no, kind of the not anthropomorphized machine kind of did it, and it just makes it's a lot easier to say no. Pretty much is what it ends up being. So that was kind of the one thing that we worked on, and it went through all kinds of iterations, but it looked pretty cool. got
Hmm.
it like 3D printed and painted, and some servo motors, and there was like face recognition going on because one of the guys on our team was really technical. That's what though. So like I push personally. I don't think anyone should code on Startup Bus. I think whatever you're doing probably doesn't absolutely require it, and that you should
Yeah.
have like an MVP that just tests whether this is viable and validate it. But the reality is that some people like to code and some people are mostly there for fun.
Yeah. It sounds
There's
like if
different
you're pitching
reasons.
just the idea, you should stick to the idea and not try and have a full fledged product in a week.
Yeah, but if you're there to code and you like code, what are you going to do? Right?
Right.
If everyone on your team is set on really starting a business, then yeah, don't make any code. But if one of the dudes is almost exclusively a coder and that's what he wants to do, I mean, you got to let him code, right? Because
Yeah.
you didn't all enter into this agreement that you were going to start a business. I mean, maybe, unless that's what you do when you form your team. But a lot of times, and with startup weekends, I've found it's like, what is everyone trying to get from this? Do you want to, resume building? Is this just networking? Are you
Yeah.
just having fun? Do you want to create something real here? Are you just trying to win? Are you mostly focused? Because if you really just focus on the pitch, um, like it's close, but the difference between wanting to win the competition and wanting to start something that's like a real company, there's different kind of like priorities you should have. So
Do you know of any of the groups on your bus that like kept going and working on their product?
one indicated that they would be, and I think there's still some work. It fizzles out and things, and it's very rare that something keeps going. They were working on an app that basically will speech coach you, so it counts your ums and whatever.
Oh, cool.
Um, as I say the word but some pretty solid things. Like I said, it's been going for a while. There's a company called Bridgeify that is like a real company. That's I feel like I don't know. I don't know how big they are, but it's definitely a real company that has continued to exist. And they came out of Startup Bus, and
Hmm.
there's a list of other ones, but I don't. Bridgeify is the only one I remember.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things I think that if you like just heard about, you would think, "Oh, that won't work. There's not even a prize." I don't know. It just seems like one of those things. It's like,
Yeah,
how is this a thing if there's no prize at the end? So you're meeting a bunch of strangers, and why is it on a bus?
yeah.
But
Well,
it's
that's
cool
the
that it's
crazy
actually a
factor
thing.
works.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I don't know how the hell the buses, especially like it's very expensive to do, and I really don't think it profits a lot. It's probably pretty much break even between sponsors and riders paying. Um, and I was looking at because I love it and I want it to be more than just annual. So I was looking at, can we do something like startup road trip where I rent an RV and just work with kind of like one team.
yeah,
It's tough to break even on this. I mean, I'm still looking into that because I really like the idea there, but
yeah. That's a cool idea. Like how, like maybe it wouldn't have to be to a destination. Maybe it's just like, and maybe there are no other RVs. It's just like, hey, it's
yeah,
four hundred
exactly.
dollars. Get 5 or 6 people. That's gotta be enough for an RV for a week, right? And
Yeah,
then
what I would love to be able to do, because startup bus things don't go as planned, but there is a plan. They don't tell the riders the plan, but there is like a set. This is where we're gonna go kind of thing. And I would love to just be super spontaneous. Pretty much say, hey, wherever you are, sign up on this website, and whenever basically it fills up, or like one team that's like a startup in their early stages indicates that they want to do this trip and are willing to pay for it, I
mm-hmm.
just say, cool. I fly to wherever that is. We rent an RV. They get on the RV, and then I say, like, where do you guys want to go? Where do you want to sleep? You want to do Airbnbs? How do you want to get food? Are we going to stop fast food? Are we going to stop at like grocery stores and hot bars and things like that? And just make it our own thing as we go. Because
Yeah,
that would be what's great too is like you could just drive right up to wherever they want to be picked up, do your adventure over the course of a few days, and then drive right back to the city. So they don't need the flights back or anything.
yeah, yeah. That would be really cool. I would do that. I really want to
Yeah.
do a startup bus. I need to look into it.
Startup bus is a special fun thing because there is something to the fact of having like multiple teams on a bus, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like several mentors. Like I was one of I think there were probably 6 total organizer people just on my bus.
So how did you
Between
get
like,
into that becoming the mentor?
no, my friend ran the bus. The
Oh,
guy that
okay.
I was on the team of in 2016
Gotcha.
ran the bus. Last year, I didn't really do anything with Startup Bus last year, and I hate myself for it because it would have been great. But last year, the guy that conducted or ran my bus, they call them conductors, ran the whole national thing.
Gotcha.
So like, and I'm like friends with him, so it's really open and it like legitimate networking stuff. I'm not usually a fan of like network stuff,
Yeah.
but I really feel like I can just call him up and be like, "What's up?" I parked my car at his house one time because I wanted to not have to park at the airport.
Yeah. I need to like I've never done any sort of networking things other than like going to like a tech talk or like a creative morning or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which are like, I guess it's just like, hey, let's just all go here, and then it's up to you to like make friends or whatever. That's
Yeah.
interesting because it's like there's an actual goal.
Oh,
Like
have you done a
I'd be
startup
much more
weekend?
successful. I haven't. No, I haven't done
I,
anything like that.
they're a lot more frequent. They're a lot cheaper, and they have about the same effect. Nothing quite like Startup Bus, but I think
Hmm.
you'd probably enjoy one of those.
Yeah, I did look. Like when we were driving over here. Um, I forget now when the next one was, but yeah, I think I'm gonna do something like that. Looks like a lot of fun, but for whatever reason, I've just never tried.
Yeah, and Seattle's huge. You by Portland, kind of maybe. I don't know where
Yeah, I don't
things
know how
are out
far we
there.
are from Portland, Vancouver. I know it's like 2.5 hours,
There you go.
but I'm
But
sure there's
yeah,
got to be something going on somewhere over here.
yeah. Between that cluster, I think you should be pretty well off for something like that.
Yeah.
But overall, I just love it, and it's so it has. You've watched Firefly. I like to make a
No,
Firefly analogy. Oh, you haven't?
I
Okay, so you
haven't,
should
but
watch Firefly. Do you know the concept at all or anything?
no.
Oh, yeah, go watch some. But it's Firefly's like kind of a that's what it is, like sort of ragtag crazy adventure kind of thing. And I get that vibe from Startup Bus, and it's just a
Mm.
great time, great experience. Kind of stressful at times, and gets you out of the comfort zone a little bit, but very cool. And yeah,
Check out the description for links to everything that we talked about, and also links to like the Reddit and the Twitter and anything else to get in contact with us.
hello, listener. Congratulations on making it to the end of the episode. If you have made it this far, I'd just like to share that Gil and I are not entirely confident about how many people actually listen to this podcast, because you may know that podcasting, it's like notoriously hard to get a really solid grasp on how many listeners you have. We have numbers, but it's not clear whether maybe just people listen for a few minutes or seconds and then disappear. We're not sure what counts. So anyway, if you're hearing this right now and you want to be like the first fan of this podcast and we don't know you, like if you're a random person that has been enjoying this, we would greatly appreciate if you just want to like tweet at us at ThinkularityFM. Yeah, it'd just be really awesome to know that there's somebody out there listening that is not one of our friends or us ourselves. So let us know if you're out there, and take care.